accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by WeatherRate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm meteorologist Ross Mumont, joined, as always, by Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan.
Come on, Ross Muma, the world champion eagle. You're flying, man.
I feel like I've been flying because I'm a little bit out of breath, running around to make sure I'm ready to go.
If you all could only see what happens behind the scenes, Ross literally ran to one end of the building so he can control the graphics. Then Andy was trying to speak English to us, and we weren't understanding him. But here we are, ready to go.
We are. Well, hopefully we're ready to go.
Yes.
So let's just get right into it here, Tim. So,
wow.
It looks...
I love satellite. Have I ever said that before? If I haven't, I'm going to say it a bunch of times over the next 16 weeks. I love satellite pictures.
Well, this tells you a lot. There's a lot going on out there. I can sit here
with my mouth open. I'm just going to sit with the mouth open and just let you talk. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say there's kind of, I would say, three separate areas we can kind of zone in on here to discuss. So let's start off with kind of just that low area of clouds just off the coast of Duval and St. Johns County. Yes, you hear Tim saying it there. Some sea fog that's been an issue for anyone who's been out at the beaches this weekend, Tim. I told you I was out at Atlantic and Neptune Beach on Saturday, and right on the beachhead, I mean, Classic. You're locked in. You can't see more than maybe 50 yards either way.
Yeah.
Whereas as soon as you go over to the A1A, I mean, you got sunshine,
and it wasn't like it was like that all day,
skies.
because I ran and did some research earlier in the morning, and visibility out there was, I mean, it was over 6 miles. But then once those temperatures picked up, land becomes low pressure, and that sea fog just, it's amazing. And for anybody who maybe is new to the area or maybe just goes to the beach, that's what I'm thinking. Those who live here but live inland and go to the beach a couple times and they see, oh, it's going up to the 80s. I can only imagine,
they get there and
bikinis and board shorts, and then
a rude awakening.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fog's the one thing. If we can pull it up again here quick, Andy, the other area I would say, Tim, is if you look kind of from 95 inland, you see just kind of a wave almost. Mm-hmm. That's that breeze coming in off the ocean, some fair weather cumulus clouds just trying to bubble up there.
Bubbling up.
So no rain associated with that. And then really the biggest, I guess, story or boundary on the way here, you look off to the northeast, moving down from Charleston, heading towards Brunswick. There's that backdoor front.
There it is, folks. He said it. Backdoor front. For those of you not familiar with it, but you do watch weather maps, you know, typically fronts, especially cool fronts, come at us in some form or fashion from the west or northwest. But especially because of where we live, these fronts kind of get hung up over the Appalachians. Then they climb over. There's a look at it. And but then once they get over the Appalachians and they kind of get trapped between the land and the warmer Gulf Stream, man, once they get moving out of the northeast, they can move pretty rapidly. Now, typically it's under high pressure, which is why it's atypical that they produce thunderstorms, but I think we might get a few sprinkles or showers, right? If nothing else, I think we'll feel a dampness as that backdoor front blows in.
Yeah, at least at a minimum, I would say low clouds, some patchy fog areas, and just kind of a light drizzle, sprinkles, dampness, at least through the morning. Then by the afternoon, you'll see a lot more sun, and still,
except maybe out around the beaches, you know.
You could be locked in all day with it.
Wouldn't be surprised if maybe western Duval gets well up into the 70s, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Back up almost to near 80, whereas I don't think the beaches are going to get out of the 60s tomorrow.
So a wide variety of weather conditions depending on where you're at here across the First Coast. This is kind of showing you what to expect the rest of the week. Warm front moves up to the north end by Wednesday. Temperature is going to be well above average, Tim. So we'll get to that here in a second. That was just a little bit of a precursor to show you what is on the way. But I think this also, one, tells a very good story and is also incredibly consistent with what we've just said.
Right.
Upper 70s from Jacksonville inland. The sun shines out there for areas closer to the beaches. Mayport, St. Augustine, you've had the sea fog. The winds coming in off the ocean. You're sitting at 64 down there in St. Augustine right now, Tim. So big differences across the board here this afternoon.
This is when I think, for those who have moved here from California, that we do sort of get that California feel where you can have tremendous temperature differences out there because of the cold ocean. And in fact, our ocean temperature right now is about what California's is during the summer. But of course, We've come back up into the lower 60s.
Still cold.
Still chilly, still invigorating. Some of us did hop in on Saturday morning without a wetsuit.
I only went in knee deep. Now my dog Enzo, he went head first.
I love
in.
Enzo.
He was swimming.
If you're going to go all the way.
He's much more courageous than I am.
Well, he knows it's good for his health. It gets that circulation going everywhere.
Yeah.
Or not. And that's a whole different story. So I think this wind pattern, so this is a current look at the wind pattern, folks. And you might say, well, gosh, everybody has a northeast to east wind, so why don't you say everybody has a front? And you're right, this is where forecasting gets tough here, because the sea breeze and the backdoor front, they can almost get kind of lost. But if you look very closely there, and we're not seeing the higher winds, but if you look from just east-northeast to Brunswick, notice how you see the winds out of the northeast, and they sort of come around to the east and southeast. That's actually the front.
The convergence zone.
Yeah,
there.
Exactly. And I suspect if we were showing this, gosh, maybe 2 or 3 hours from now, we would see maybe some wind gusts of 15 to 20 up around St. Simons as that thing comes in.
Yeah, and they'll kind of merge together a little bit, meaning the front itself and the sea
What a
breeze.
rebound!
But
this is job security for meteorologists.
with the warmer weather.
Well, just the variety.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's another thing about California is that, especially on the coast, especially south of San Francisco, their weather doesn't change much other than that sea breeze land. Whereas, I mean, you think about our first 3 weeks in January here.
Bitterly cold, frigid.
And so this just shows February, but if you were to go from the 26th through now the 10th, you'd see temperatures well above average. Pretty
And
amazing.
it's hard to believe. So our average high for February 10th is 68 degrees. We're 10 degrees above that nearly every single day. Besides the first and second, we've been at least 10 degrees above average, if not more. So pretty significant start talking about the warm weather, at least with regards to that here across the First Coast and in Jacksonville. Here's a quick look at what we're looking at tomorrow. We talked about some of the low clouds, the chance for some drizzle, stray showers here or there, Tim. It looks like that little surface meso low begins to spin off just off to the northeast. That will gradually push north and northeast throughout the day. Might pull the majority of the energy and moisture away from us, but we'll have to watch late tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. Right along the coast, you still have onshore flow, but coming in from the Gulf Coast, a little bit more of a land breeze, westerly southwest flow. So there might be a little bit of a convergence zone there.
So another sign, really, of the warmer season, that kind of a sea breeze effect type shower.
Something you might not see until what? May, June, really?
Murphy likes to mess with the players, so I wouldn't be surprised if during the players, will be Players Championship, of course, that is.
Well, we're only 3 weeks away from that.
Yes,
now, right?
Exactly. And so now let's move back to March. Then we're always wondering about the sea fog rolling in there, wondering about sea breeze showers. It's an anxious week for us meteorologists. But folks, what Ross has been showing you for the next couple of days is why we're calling this week unsettled, because there's just going to be a lot of variety. And you might be thinking, well, Ross and Tim are talking about a backdoor cool front, so does that mean cold mornings? No, we probably won't see any cold mornings until about next Monday, which is we're going to see cooler afternoons depending on where you are. But with that breeze off the ocean, we're not really going to see. We'll probably see temperatures above average in the morning, probably through the week.
Yeah, I would say nearly every single day.
Yeah.
I think Friday might be the only day that we see high temperatures around average.
Yeah, high temperatures, right.
But yeah, every single morning I think we're going to be above average because our average low should be around, I think it's like 47, 48.
Yeah, mid to upper 40s.
Yeah, and I mean,
Might be tough.
mid 50s is probably the lowest
Right.
we're going to be through at least the weekend. Earlier on, I had shown the warm front kind of pushing off to our north throughout the day on Wednesday. So this is just kind of to show southwesterly flow. It's going to be breezy on Wednesday. Temperatures will likely push into at least the low to, if not the mid 80s.
And then there it is.
Yes, and then here comes the first, I should say, of multiple fronts on the way. So although we're warm this week, we do have kind of a changing weather pattern here. Every several days, we're going to have another system kind of make its way on through. So you see Thursday morning looks to be okay, but by the afternoon and evening, we'll start to see some rain and some storms very isolated, probably non-severe storms, Tim.
Yeah,
come through. It kind of depends on the timing there.
Right, because it does look like severe storms is going to go for maybe a few severe thunderstorms, even as close as southeastern Alabama.
Yeah.
Maybe Florida Panhandle. Then they should weaken as they come our way, but we'll keep a close watch on that. And as Ross mentioned, although we could have a couple isolated showers with this weak backdoor front, it looks like our next risk of widespread showers will be with that system coming in Thursday, but then another one on Sunday. And of course, Sunday is
the Daytona 500, which could be even more impactful.
Yeah.
So Saturday, you should be okay if you have any outdoor plans. But yeah, here comes Sunday. The timing of this is pretty significant. The race, or the green flag, waves at 2:30. So it very well could hit right around that.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah,
we're too far out to really pinpoint the exact timing of it, but this does shows that frontal system making its way towards the first coast by Sunday at the very least. So whether that's in the morning, whether that's in the afternoon or evening, expect at least some level of rain at some point on the day on Sunday.
So I would say if you're already making weekend plans, Saturday is your dry day.
Yeah.
And if you are headed down to Daytona, I would plan on probably at least a delay. I mean, what I mean is maybe they'll start and then a delay and then.
And if you remember last year, they actually had to postpone it until Monday.
Yeah.
Because of rain.
Yeah. Now this probably will move through pretty quickly.
Yes, it is a quick moving front.
So I wouldn't expect them to have more than about 1 to 2 hours. Would you down there?
Oh, yeah, and I wouldn't say more than that. I did talk to Shaz Pirani last week. So NASCAR, and I may have mentioned this to you, Tim, NASCAR has wet tires now.
That's going to be interesting
which
to
is
see.
something I know they have in Formula One. I'm not sure if IndyCar uses them. I'm not sure if they're able to use them on super speedways, though.
Yeah.
So I think more so on like your circuit courses and ones that don't have as much of an incline on the corners. I think they're able to use them. So that will be interesting to see,
if they adjust.
Can they run? Because, you're getting speeds over 180, 200 miles per hour here. So you don't want to hit a wet, slick spot.
Yeah. At the very least, maybe they don't have to wait as long. Maybe it doesn't have to get quite as dry afterwards.
Yes. So we'll get you out there on one of those dryers, Tim. Cool everything.
On a dryer, that'd be good. They'd fun.
Yeah. Take it around. One other thing I wanted to mention, we talked about the fronts coming in. We are going to see temperature drop. So we had mentioned earlier, Friday will likely be the coolest day of the week. So this is when the first front comes in on Thursday. Highs will likely be down into the 60s. Coastal areas could be even cooler, locked into the clouds potentially there. Could even see really some scattered showers on and off throughout the day, Tim, don't you think?
Yeah.
For a lot of the coastal areas on Friday.
But again, despite that cooler afternoon, if you're going to work and school in the morning, really not all that cold until check out Monday morning.
Yeah. There comes the real winter.
The winter will be returning. I know there's a lot of folks, in fact, Lee's going to talk about it tonight, I think at 5:30. A lot of folks, because we've had 2 weeks, it's going to end up being 3 weeks of warm weather. Soil temperatures are really coming up. Folks who want to get out and garden. And I was talking to a landscape expert yesterday, and he is hoping that people wait. In fact, he was noting that he saw a lot of people already cutting their frozen or burnt vegetation back. He says you really should wait on that. Now maybe at the beach, near the beach, you're okay. But yeah, he even recommended that wait on doing that, as hard as it is right now, because obviously things are just sprouting up all over the place.
Yeah, well, I can tell even with my allergies and stuff, the pollen count has to be rising, because I was sneezing a lot over the weekend.
Yeah.
So
well, you can see it. You can see we saw the red buds, and now the oaks are filling in, and there's life popping out all over.
One other thing before we go, Tim, that might be more important than anything in all of this. With regards to where the jet stream is and these systems and fronts rolling on through, the axis of it sets up perfectly from the bayou in Louisiana to southeast Pennsylvania for a flock of eagles to fly back home.
Downwind.
Oh, easy flight home.
Wow, fast flight.
Fast flight. Now, there's going to be snow in the Philadelphia area come Wednesday, and I think even into early Thursday.
I'm seeing like maybe 4 to 6 inches, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about snow total specifically.
When's the parade?
Well, that's what I'm getting to here.
Okay.
Nice weather for Friday.
Yeah.
Lovely Valentine's Day. They call it the city of brotherly love.
Sweet.
Could you get a better Valentine's Day than that?
Is that when the parade's going to be?
Yeah, hoisting the
Really?
flag. Yeah, I believe
On
it's
Valentine's.
Don't quote me on this. I think
Wow.
it's going to be at 11 a.m. on Friday.
Okay,
in
so if
Philly.
Eagle fans wanted to, they could continue to partake in New Orleans for another couple of days.
Oh yeah, they don't have to be home until the
Yeah.
end of the week.
Okay.
They got some time.
Yeah.
We though don't have any more time, Tim. Think.
Yep. That's
Cutting it off?
That's it for us.
Alrighty.
I am just grateful that Ross is even here today, folks. So
I know.
impressed. I'm
Hey,
impressed.
didn't want to leave you hanging.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty, well, Tim will have more on your forecast coming up on First Coast News at 5, 5:30, 6, 7. I'll have it at 11. For the time being, I'm meteorologist Ross Mumal. He's Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan. As always, thanks for watching and take care.